Two people earn very different amounts of money. One makes $200,000 a year and still feels broke. The other makes $50,000 and sleeps peacefully at night. Most people think the difference is discipline. One person must be responsible. The other must be reckless. But that is not the real difference. The real difference is much stranger. One of them can still feel money leaving. The other one cannot. And once you understand that, your own bank account may start to look very different. Imagine both of them standing in the rain. The high earner is holding a huge bucket. Money pours in fast. Raises, bonuses, promotions, bigger paychecks. But there is a hole at the bottom. Water rushes in and water rushes out. Because the bucket is so big, he does not notice the leak right away. He only notices it later when the storm ends, the income slows down, and somehow nothing is left. The lower earner is holding a small cup. It fills slowly, but every drop matters. When the cup fills, he moves the water into a jar. Not because he earns more, because he feels the water. That is the difference. Here is the uncomfortable idea behind this video. You may not be bad with money. You may have been numbed. Modern money is designed to make spending feel almost invisible. Tap the card, click the button, subscribe once and forget it exists. Pay later. Autopay. One-click checkout. The money leaves, but your body barely notices. And that is why a pen and paper method from 1904 can sometimes beat every budgeting app on your phone. Because it does something modern money stopped doing. It makes you feel the money again. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you the 7 small ways it brings that feeling back. And if you want more videos that make money feel simple, visual, and impossible to ignore, subscribe. I make one of these every week. It all starts with a method most people have never really understood. That method is called Kakeibo. It looks like a simple household budget. But the real trick is not the math. The real trick is the pause. It is built around a very simple idea. Before you spend, you pause. After you spend, you write. At the end of the month, you reflect. That sounds almost too basic. But that is exactly why it works. Because the problem is not that people do not know they should spend less. Everyone knows that. The problem is that spending has become painless. And when spending is painless, self-control becomes much harder than it needs to be. Think about the last time you paid with cash. You handed something over. You saw the bills leave your hand. You felt a tiny moment of loss. It was not dramatic, but it was real. Now compare that to tapping your phone. There is no handover, no stack getting smaller, no physical limit, just a sound, a vibration, and maybe a notification you ignore. That tiny feeling of loss has been removed, and when the feeling disappears, the spending becomes easier to repeat. That is the trap. Not one huge mistake, 100 painless little ones. This is why checking your bank balance can be so misleading. Your bank app might say you have $3,000, but that number is not the truth. Rent is hiding inside it. Bills are hiding inside it. Food, transport, debt payments, subscriptions, and future emergencies are all hiding inside it. The balance looks bigger than it really is. So, you buy the thing. Then another thing. Then the month ends, and you wonder where the money went. The money did not disappear. It was already spoken for. You just could not see it clearly. Kakeibo fixes that by making one rule impossible to ignore. The first rule is this: do not save what is left after spending. Spend what is left after saving. Most people use this formula. Income minus spending equals savings. But that turns savings into leftovers. And leftovers are usually zero. Kakeibo reverses the order. Income comes in. Savings comes out first. Then you live on what remains. So if $3,000 comes in and $500 goes straight to savings, your real spending money is not $3,000. It is $2,500. That may feel tighter. Good. The tightness is the system working. It creates a limit before your lifestyle expands to fill the space. This is the first pain Kakeibo brings back. Scarcity, not poverty, not panic, just a clear, honest limit. Most people try to become better with money while still letting their full balance sit in front of them. That is like trying to eat less while keeping the entire cake on the table. Kakeibo removes the slice first. Then you decide what to do with the rest, and suddenly your choices become sharper. Do I really want this? Will I still care tomorrow? Is this worth taking space from something else? That is the point. A budget is not there to punish you. It is there to make trade-offs visible. The second pain is naming. Because vague spending is easy to ignore, named spending is much harder to escape. Kakeibo puts your expenses into 4 simple categories. First, survival. Rent, food, transport, medicine, utilities. The things you need to live. Second, optional. Takeout, drinks, shopping, subscriptions, upgrades, small treats. This is usually where the leaks are. Third, culture. Books, courses, museums, learning, experiences that help you learn, grow, or see the world differently. And fourth, extra. Unexpected repairs, gifts, emergencies, random things life throws at you. That is the whole system. 4 buckets. Simple enough to use, clear enough to hurt a little, and that small pain matters. Because when you write takeout $28 under optional, the purchase changes. It is no longer just dinner. It is part of a pattern. When you write subscription $12 for the third app you forgot about, it becomes harder to pretend it does not matter. When you write coffee $5 every weekday, you stop seeing it as $5. You start seeing it as $100 a month. Naming turns invisible habits into visible choices. And once a choice becomes visible, you can finally decide whether it is worth keeping. The third pain is the daily check-in. This is where most budgeting apps fail. They track everything automatically, which sounds helpful. But automatic tracking has one problem. You do not feel it. The app knows where your money went, but you do not. Kakeibo makes you sit down for 3 minutes and write the day by hand. Coffee, 5. Lunch, 12. Gas, 40. Takeout, 28. By hand. Not because paper is magical, because writing slows you down. It creates a moment where your brain has to face the purchase again. That second look is where behavior starts to change. Most people only face their money at the end of the month, but by then, the damage is already done. That is not budgeting. That is an autopsy. You are looking at a dead month and trying to figure out what killed it. Daily writing is different. It is a pulse check. It catches the leak while there is still time to fix it. If by Wednesday your optional spending is already half gone, you still have a chance. You can cook at home, cancel the weekend shopping, skip the impulse order. Small corrections work because they happen early. That is why 3 minutes a day can save more than a 2-hour panic session at the end of the month. The fourth pain is the visible limit, and this one is very physical. For your optional spending, Kakeibo often works best with cash. At the start of the month, you decide how much fun money you have. Then you put that amount in an envelope. Restaurants, coffee, drinks, random shopping. They come from that envelope. When the envelope is empty, the category is done. No card rescue. No, I'll fix it next month. No midnight negotiation with yourself. The limit is right there in your hand. And unlike a bank balance, an envelope does not lie. This may sound old-fashioned, but that is the advantage. A card hides the limit. Cash shows it. When a stack of bills gets thinner, your brain understands something that a number on a screen cannot always teach. This is running out. That feeling changes behavior. You may still buy the coffee. You may still go out with friends, but you will feel the trade-off. And feeling the trade-off is the whole point, because every dollar can only do one job. If it goes hee-hee, it cannot go there. That is not restriction. That is reality. Quick question while we're in the middle of this. Which of the 4 buckets leaks the most for you? The takeout? The late night shopping? The subscriptions you forgot you were even paying for? Drop it in the comments. I actually read them. The one that comes up most becomes the next video, so you're basically choosing what I cover next. Okay, back to it. The 5th pain is waiting. This may be the most powerful one, because most impulse spending depends on speed. You see it, you want it, you buy it before the feeling disappears. The modern economy is built around that tiny window. Fast checkout exists because companies know that if you wait too long, you may come back to your senses. Kakeibo puts time between wanting and buying. If something is not survival, you do not buy it immediately. You write it on a wish list. Then you wait 30 days. No drama, no motivation speech, just time. After 30 days, you ask one honest question. Do I still want this? Not, can I afford it? Not, do I deserve it? Do I still want it with the same energy? Often, the answer is no. You were bored. You were stressed. You were tired. You saw someone else with it. You wanted to feel different for a few minutes. And now the feeling is gone. That means you saved the money by doing nothing. But if 30 days pass and you still want it, then buy it with a clear mind. At that point, it is no longer an impulse. It is a decision. The 6th pain is appreciation. This one sounds strange, but it matters. When spending becomes easy, replacing things becomes easy too. Your phone feels old faster. Your clothes feel boring faster. Your furniture, your shoes, your tools, your car, everything starts to feel temporary. Kakeibo pushes against that. It makes you notice what you already own. Before buying new shoes, clean the old ones. Before replacing your phone, remove the clutter, change the case, wipe the screen. Before buying another course, finish the one you already paid for. This is not about being cheap. It is about breaking the habit of treating every discomfort as a shopping problem. A lot of spending is not really about the object. It is about changing a feeling. You feel stressed, so you order food. You feel behind, so you buy a productivity tool. You feel bored, so you browse. You feel insecure, so you upgrade something. Kakeibo does not just ask, "What did you buy?" It slowly teaches you to ask, "What was I feeling when I bought it?" That question is uncomfortable, but it is powerful. Because once you find the emotion behind the spendings, you find the real leak. And the real leak is often not money. It is stress, fatigue, loneliness, avoidance, a need for control. Money was just the place where the feeling escaped. The 7th pain is reflection. At the end of the month, you sit with the numbers, not to punish yourself, not to feel guilty, to learn. You compare what you planned with what actually happened. Where did I overspend? Which category surprised me? What purchase do I regret? What purchase was worth it? What triggered the worst spending? What do I want to change next month? This is where Kakeibo becomes more than a budget. It becomes a mirror. Your spending shows what you actually chose, not what you said mattered, what you chose. And that can be uncomfortable, but it is also useful. If you repeat this for a few months, something interesting happens. You do not suddenly become a different person. You do not become perfectly disciplined. You simply become less numb. You start noticing the leak earlier. You pause before buying. You cancel things faster. You wait more often. You repair instead of replace. You save before spending. You look at your budget instead of your balance. None of these changes feels huge on its own, but together they compound. That is how people quietly start keeping more of their income without feeling like they are living a miserable life. Not because they earn more, because less money escapes unnoticed, and the numbers can become surprisingly large. Saving $200 a month may not sound life-changing. At first, it is not. It is just a small gap. The money that changes your future usually looks boring in the present, but small gaps repeated for years can become serious money. And if that money is invested consistently over long periods, the effect can become much larger. Of course, markets are not guaranteed. Some years are bad. Some years are very bad. But historically, long-term investing has rewarded people who created a gap between what they earned and what they spent. That gap is the beginning of wealth. And Kakeibo is not magic. It simply helps you see where the gap can come from. So here is the simple version you can try this week. For 7 days, do not try to change anything yet. Just write down every single thing you spend by hand: coffee, lunch, gas, delivery, subscriptions, random purchases, everything. At the end of the 7 days, circle every optional purchase, then add them up. Do not judge yourself, just look. That number is not a failure. It is information. It is the first honest reading of where your money is leaking. And once you can see the leak, you can start deciding what deserves to stay. Then try the 1-month version. At the start of the month, write down your income. Subtract your savings first. Then divide the rest into the 4 Kakeibo buckets: survival, optional, culture, extra. For optional spending, use a cash envelope if you can. For anything you want but do not need, write it on a 30-day list. Every night, spend 3 minutes writing what happened. At the end of the month, sit down and ask what your spending was trying to tell you. That is it. No complicated spreadsheet, no perfect system. Just honesty, repeated. Because in the end, Kakeibo is not really about becoming the kind of person who never spends. That is not the goal. The goal is to stop sleepwalking through your own money, to stop letting painless purchases decide your future for you, to feel the trade-offs again, to choose on purpose. One path is easy. Keep tapping, keep clicking, keep hoping the next raise fixes a leak you never measured. The other path is quieter. Pick up a pen, write it down, let it sting for a second, then decide. Because the person who wins with money is not always the person who earns the most. It is often the person who can still feel the rain. And tonight, that starts with one line on paper. Write this down: I master my money. It does not master me. Then, write the first thing you spent today. That is where the numbness starts to break. And if you want to see where that numbness usually hides the deepest, the next video breaks down the spending traps that quietly drain people the most. Subscribe so you don't miss it. It's on screen right now. I'll see you there.